Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about Rawl's arguments. So first off, we're going to talk about his original argument, which basically was that there's a problem when people talk about political philosophy, and simply because they bring their biases or own interests into it. So it's just like normal science whenever you could do an experiment and you can bring your own bias into there because they can promote their own bias. This is when politics becomes a game to get what you want instead of not getting what ethically is right. So he came up with this thing where you put a veil of ignorance over them and you can ask them all these questions, like if they want to be in a utilitarianism, fatalism, strict egoism, sorry I can't say that one, property owning, democracy, and libertarianism. And so you ask them all this and they'd say yes or no, but they wouldn't know anything about themselves underneath the veil of ignorance. And so that's what I think is really cool, and I found out that they would choose the property owning democracy, and I think he's correct on that. He has two principles that they would come up with. The first is that everyone has the same basic liberties. So it doesn't matter if you were born rich, born poor, born middle class, doesn't matter. Everyone has the same basic liberties and they cannot be taken away from you. Second is that inequalities in social and economic places are still real, and that we need to work on them, and that's always going to happen, and we can't always get rid of them, but we can work on them. And then his second argument is an intuitive argument, and it basically is saying that we want to have where our success becomes from us trying, not from us being born into it or given it because of our heritage. But if we lived in this, if how we live right now is basically people are good because they were born into it. And this argument is basically just how to apply your opinion into not having this. So watching the video and reading the journal, I guess you'd say, or book or article, I think that they would agree. Like if there was somehow that you could put a veil of ignorance on people and they wouldn't know anything, I think that if I was underneath that, I would agree, obviously, because I don't have the best. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm not broke, if that makes any sense. But I would agree under the veil of ignorance and under nothing. I would agree that the property owning your own property, yeah, y'all know which one I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought again. It's been a rough week, but that one, I think they would choose that one. I think his argument is correct, simply because like that is the one that works out the best for everyone. I mean, you don't want the feudalism, and you don't want the ultraism, and you don't want the libertarianism, and you don't want the strict egalitarianism. Yeah, I feel like the property owning one would be the best choice that everyone would choose. I don't feel like he was wrong in that one. Now, in his second argument, I kind of don't understand what he's talking about, so I feel like if you put them underneath the veil of ignorance on that one, it'd be a little difficult. But I feel like for his first argument, they would agree with what he is saying that they would pick. So the political issue that I think if we put people underneath the veil of ignorance about, that I would like to talk about, is gun ownership. I feel like if you put people underneath a veil of ignorance, they would be more compliant in choosing it. Simply because like they wouldn't think about all the harm that guns could do or who would be behind the guns. They wouldn't think about all the school shootings. They wouldn't know nothing about that. They would just know like, hey, guns could save your life if there's a robbery in your house. And then I also feel like they wouldn't be thinking, and the people that are for guns, they wouldn't be thinking about, hey, there's a shooter in my house, or hey, I don't live in the best neighborhood, I need a gun to protect myself. No one would be thinking about that. I think they would just be like, oh, hey, if you want a gun, you can go shoot a deer, get your own meat. I feel like if they were underneath the veil of ignorance and went through this process, they would choose to have guns simply because no one would really know the bad effects or the good effects of guns. They would just think simply, what is a gun? And a gun is to shoot something. And so if we lived in a world where we had to hunt our food, that would be good. If we lived in a world where we have to protect ourselves, that would be good. And I feel like if you ask these questions, like, okay, first question underneath the veil of ignorance, if you own a gun, would you use it for safety? Everyone would probably say yes. If you own a gun, would you hunt with it? Everyone would probably say yes. I mean, besides the Barbie looking girls. I'm sorry, Nevaeh is trying to chill my blanket and I'm trying to stop her. But I feel like underneath the veil of ignorance, they would choose to have guns, and they would still have like background checks and stuff like that, but they wouldn't be as biased as like someone coming in from the military and taking all of our guns. I feel like that wouldn't be such a thing because no one would know the bad effects. Thanks guys, that's the end of my video. I'm sorry it was so long. Oh, no it's not. I hope that goes in with us choosing our political view. What you said on your video that you wanted us to talk about it. That would be the one I still was going to choose anyways, and talk about how if you applied it to the original position argument that they would use the property owning thing still, simply because that would still let them be able to do what they want and still everyone have equal things and different principle and all that stuff. But thanks.